How you doing, and welcome to my channel. As you can see today, I'm having a look at the Sideshow Collectibles 1/6 scale The Dude, aka El Duderino, aka Jeff Bridges, from the 1998 cult classic movie The Big Lebowski. Just having a quick look at the box there, you can see there's a lot going on. You can see we have an image of the figure at the front here holding his bowling ball and his white Russian. And then at the bottom we have the dude and some bowling pins, some bowling lanes at the background with some bowling pins, a big bowling ball behind the figure. And then at the top we have the pattern of the rug that is featured in the movie. Then at the side we have some more bowling lanes with a bowling ball there. And then at the back we have kind of a retro style filter for the figure, with the bowling ball in his hand, the Big Lebowski at the bottom. And then we have what's made to kind of represent the dream sequence he has in the movie when he's, let's say, intoxicated. And you can see the girl's legs there, the bottom of their skirts, and a bowling lane there with the bowling ball heading towards the pins. And then on the inside, around the edge of the box, if I can get this open, things have a tendency to fight with me as soon as I press that record button. But there we go. Around all the edge of the box, we have the pattern of the rug that's featured in the movie that kind of sparks all the sequences of events. So there's a lot going on in the box. It's a really nice box. And please do, guys, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel. So without further ado, let's have a quick pan down of the figure before we get into the details. And here we have the Big Lebowski. And to be honest with you guys, this is quite a niche figure. It is a cult classic movie, and it did actually spawn a religion, believe it or not. It's known as Dudism, and they say that they're the slowest growing religion in the world and they practice as little as possible, so it's quite fitting for the dude. The first thing I'm going to mention, guys, is his outfit. And I think the outfit that Sideshow chose for this figure is way off. It was a bit of a mistake, if you ask me. They should have chose one of his more iconic outfits, to be quite honest. And I think that may have been part of why the sales were a bit poor. It's still available on Sideshow. Even the exclusive is still available on Sideshow. And as from the making of this video, it's still available anyway. And like I said, the outfit just isn't one of his iconic outfits. This outfit is only featured in one scene in the movie, I think. The house coat or the bathrobe that he wears in the movie, or the bowling trousers with the cardigan with the purple t-shirt would have been more recognizable. So I do think that the outfit they decided to go for was a bit of an error on their part. It's just not one of his most iconic outfits, and I really do feel that it may have affected the sales. He would have been more recognizable if he was in one of his more iconic outfits, like I said, the bathrobe or the house coat. But there you go for a quick pan of the figure. There are some nice details that we'll get into, but first of all, we'll have a look at the accessories. And here we have the accessories that come with the Sideshow Collectibles The Dude. And as you can see, there's a lot of hands, and I think it's great. In the standard edition, you get 11 hands, which is fantastic. But I'm going to point something out that I've pointed out before. Sideshow are the only company I know that give separate pegs for each hand, and I think it makes all the difference. It makes it a lot easier for the collector for swapping out the hands. There's not a whole lot of messing about. There's less risk of snapping a peg, putting it onto the hand. And I think other companies like Hot Toys should really incorporate this and, you know, take a leaf out of Sideshow's book. So starting off with the hands, we'll have a look at the details in the hands, and you can see that they're painted quite well, in my opinion. There is a bit of detail into them. Just having a look at the fingers there, you can see the fingers have a bit more redness to them, and it works its way down to a paler forehand. There's some vein work in there, and the same with the palm of the hand there. It's paler than the fingers, and there is a subtle blue hint in the creases as well, a greyish bluish hint, just to give them a bit more depth. And there's the cuticles in the nails as well, and each hand is painted kind of different as well. You can see that hand there, the pinky finger is a bit more reddish than the rest of the fingers. And again, working down to the paler forehand. And the fingers on the back there aren't as red as they are on the other hand. So each hand is painted in a unique kind of way. They're individually, painted. So there are lots of options there for the hands. I can't think of another Sideshow figure that has as many hands, to be honest. Maybe there is, but I can't think of one. But there's so many options for posing them, and there's a couple of different hands for holding the White Russians. This one here, holds the glass with the lip on it, quite handy. And we have a right hand as well for holding a glass, which is nice to have a right and a left hand for holding a glass for numerous options. And you can see that one there holds a different glass. So there are many options for posing them. With different gesturing hands, they're all quite nicely done. We've open palms. We have hands for holding the bowling ball bag. We have a specific hand here for holding the bowling ball. If I can just get it in there we go. Looks pretty nice. Looks fairly on point. So yeah, many options for posing them, which I'm delighted to say, So moving on, actually I'll stick with the bowling ball. We have his bowling ball. You can see the yellow paint around where the finger inserts are, and that's the only paint application on it. It's plain, but it does the job. And you can see we have the bowling bag here, and the bowling ball does fit in it, as you can see. And I think on screen it might look a bit black, but it's actually like a grey charcoaly kind of colour. It's not jet black, I'm not sure if you can pick that up or not. And it's made out of a pleather. And we do have a functioning zip as well. As stiff as it is, we do have a functioning zip. Just let me get it to zip up there, and there we go. And those metal rings, they're made out of metal, those rings that are on the bag, and a nice bit of stitching in it. So it looks on point. It looks fairly decent. I don't know how long it's going to stay together without flaking, but at the moment it is what it is. And then we have the shades that he's wearing in the movie, if I can get a bit more focused in there, and they're done quite well. There's a little bit of translucency to them, as there should be. You can see the hand through the glass there, so you do get to see his eyes through the glasses, and they look exactly like the glasses he's wearing in the movie. They look fairly accurate, and they sit on him quite nice as well. I'll have a look at them on the figure a bit later on. And then we have his 4 glasses of White Russians. And to me, the mold for the ice is absolutely fantastic. And they all seem to be a bit different. They don't all seem to be the same mold for the ice. They seem to be, maybe a couple of them are the same, but they look different anyway. And we've different designs for the glasses as well. You can see this one has kind of a design around the edge of it, which looks pretty nice. This one here has a lip on it. This one here is a taller one, and this one here is full to the brim. So there's different options for how you want to pose them with the White Russians, and different glasses for different scenes in the movie, which is absolutely fantastic of Sideshow to give us 4 glasses of White Russians. And these 2 accessories here are for the exclusive only. And we'll call this a cigarette just for YouTube purposes. He has this cigarette here, and we have a hand for holding it, and it just pinches in between his index finger and his thumb, and looks pretty on point. The paintwork on the cigarette and the ash end of it looks absolutely fantastic. It looks great. It looks like a hand rolled cigarette. It looks great. With the exclusive version still available, I don't see why anybody wouldn't buy this. With this accessory, it's one of the dude's key accessories or key pieces of his character. So there we have it for the accessories. So moving on, let's take a look at the figure itself. So here we have the dude, or Jeffrey Lebowski, straight up as he comes out of the box. And I'm just going to move him out of the way there while we have a look at this base. And this is something I've never seen from Sideshow before. Maybe it has happened in the past, but I don't recall having a feature like this on a base for a Sideshow figure. This piece comes off. The rug pattern piece can be taken off to have a plain black base. Typical Sideshow base, hexagonal shape. Nothing written on it, no dude, no Big Lebowski. A missed opportunity from Sideshow, but Sideshow usually are a bit of a letdown with their bases or their stands. But when I am using the stand, I do display it with the pattern, with the rug pattern on it. So as for the figure itself, as I mentioned earlier, not the most iconic outfit, which is a bit of a letdown. But just starting off from bottom to top, we'll start with his footwear in my usual fashion. This is like a jelly sandal, beach sandal kind of thing that he's wearing. And they're separate from the foot, although I don't think they can be taken off. I wouldn't try and take them off. Now, I might mention this whole outfit is from the scene where he goes to visit the Big Lebowski. You can see it's one fold mold in the foot. There's no articulation in the toe area. Painted quite well. The foot is painted quite well, and it fits the sandal quite well. You can see the toes through the sandal. They're translucent, you can see through them. You can see the buckle on it there, and a bit of a relief on the strap as well. You probably could take them off, but you'd be risking snapping them or breaking them to get them off. There is a bit of a join there, but if you pull the trouser down, it eliminates that and it looks seamless, which looks really nice. Like I said, painted quite well, nice skin tone, but there is a bit of a black mark on my one there. I don't know if that's to represent the mole or something, but it is there. But yeah, quite nicely done. And the sole of the sandal, it's typical jelly sandal, beach sandal kind of base on them, or sole on them. So yeah, they look quite well. Moving on up to his trousers, his linen trousers again that he wears in that one particular scene in the movie. Very, very thin material and quite accurate to the ones he's wearing in the movie. You can see the drawstring there, which seems to be stitched to the inside of the leg. I'm not sure why Sideshow done that, maybe just to keep it all together. I'm not entirely sure if I like that, to be honest. But it is what it is. And then we have some functioning pockets. All the stitching is all grouped together quite nicely. No weathering on it. But in that particular scene where he goes to visit the Big Lebowski for the first time, he is fairly clean. I think it's probably the cleanest you'll see him in the whole movie, to be honest. So maybe that is part of why Sideshow chose this outfit, because Sideshow aren't particularly famous for putting weathering on their figures, which is usually a bummer. And then at the top we have his white t-shirt, which is fairly whitewashed out there, guys. My apologies. There is a bit of a fat suit on him there. It's not huge fat suit. He did have a bit of a tummy on him in the movie, and the trousers you can see are elasticated there as well. The fat suit only comes around, into a one piece there around his crotch area. There's no padding on his legs or anything. So it's not, it's a limited fat suit. It's not filling out the whole body, just his stomach, just to make him a bit more in proportion to how Jeff Bridges was in the movie. You can see on the neck there that it is all one piece, which again adds to the illusion of the seamlessness. And you can see there, unfortunately, the head sculpt is a slight different shade to the neck and body, which it's not ideal. It's not way off, but it is a slight difference in the color tone, which, yeah, it's not great. But there is a bit of a detail to the body. You can see his collarbone there. You can see, the detail in the neck. You can see the dimples and the indents in his chest. And there is a bit of hair molded onto it there, although it isn't painted. There is a bit of hair molded into the chest piece, which I'd assume is probably because it's a reused body from something else. And then he has this famous cardigan that he wears in a few scenes in the movie. The pattern is absolutely fantastic. It is so accurate. It might be a little bit clean. I think it was a little bit grubbier, if I'm not mistaken, in the movie, but it's not a deal breaker. It absolutely looks the part, and it fits him quite well as well. It looks absolutely fantastic. The zip is a little bit oversized. It's made of like a cotton, but it looks like a knitted cardigan. It looks absolutely fantastic. It has the ribbed part at the bottom there, and the ribbed part at the cuff as well. So it's all on point. It looks incredible. The collar, there's a little bit of futzing needed to get the collar under the hair because of the way his hair is molded in. It takes a little bit of futzing to get it all looking right and get it all kind of fitting correctly, but once you do, it does look the part. Like I said, just a bit of futzing needs doing. One of the key features of the Big Lebowski, or the Dude, is his cardigan. So let's get closer to this head sculpt and take a look at the details. And here we have the head sculpt. Now, bear in mind, this is a Sideshow Collectibles figure, and a lot of the time they're hit and miss, mostly miss, to be honest, with their human head sculpt. Alien head sculpts are great, but I'm quite happy with this one. I know exactly who I'm looking at. It is the Dude from the Big Lebowski. It is Jeff Bridges. And you can see he has that kind of cheeky, the Dude laid back kind of cheeky grin on his face. It's a nice expression that they've captured, which is on point. You can see the greyness in the beard, which is on point. And to accommodate the smile on his face, you can see the little crease that's molded into his face. It's done quite well. As I said, a bit of greyness in the beard. The lips might be a little bit pink, but it's not the end of the world. Although he has his piercing blue Jeff Bridges eyes, I would have liked to have seen them a bit more red, because anybody who's seen the movie knows that he does partake, and in a lot of the scenes he is intoxicated, let's say, and it could have done with a bit more redness in his eyes. And anybody who knows the details of the movies knows that Jeff Bridges in between takes rubbed his eyes to get them a bit more red, to make it look like he was under the influence. Just looking at the locks there at the side of his, the side of his face there, they're on point. There's a little bit of greyness hint to them. There's a bit of speckling to the skin as well, which looks well. And the paint applications, I've really no kind of issues with the paint applications, other than the lips maybe being a bit pink. But apart from that, the paint applications are really nice, and the skin tone is right for Jeff Bridges. You can see that the hair is quite nicely done as well. It waves down into the sides. And as for the mold of the hair, it's not Hot Toys standard, but it is decent. Sideshow, I think, have slightly improved to their hair over time. But the problem is, because of the length of it, it restricts the articulation in the head sculpt. Because of the way the mold comes down and hits his shoulders, it just really limits the articulation of the head sculpt. But you can see the colour tones in the neck there, just again, which is a little bit off, a little bit of a bummer, but it's not way off. Back to the hair. You can see that it starts off darker at the top and comes down into this kind of, how do I explain it, California kind of surfer dude, sandy kind of look to it. Although I think it's a little bit darker than it should be. I think in the movie his hair is a little bit fairer, and Sideshow kind of got the tone a little bit darker than it should be, but it still looks the part. You can see there's a nice bit of depth to it as well. You can see it looks thick and bushy, which is, on point for how he looked in the movie. And you can see about halfway down it changes tone, which again is on point for how it was in the movie. So overall, I'm pleased. I am pleased with the head sculpt. I think it looks fairly decent for Sideshow standard anyway. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the best 1/6 scale iteration of the Dude that there is on the market, apart from, an expensive custom job. Apart from the clothing he's wearing, I think it looks fairly amazing. I think it looks, really good, especially for a Sideshow human head sculpt. It looks the part. I think they've captured the expression quite well for the Dude, Jeff Bridges as the Dude. And overall, I'm quite happy. So there we have it for the head sculpt. I'll just give you a quick look at the sculpt with the glasses on, as I said I would. And here we go with the glasses on, and you can see through them. You can see his eyes through them, as you should. They're just the right tone of orange as they were in the movie. They fit quite well. The arm of them fits and hides behind the hair quite well, and they sit in place quite nicely. As you can see there, the arm is hidden in behind the hair, and they are fairly solid on them. They're not going anywhere. So they look pretty cool. I think it is an option for posing, absolutely. So there we have for the sculpt with the glasses on. So as I said earlier on, guys, the most disappointing part of this figure is the clothing set that Sideshow chose to put on him, and it drove me to kind of search for alternate clothing for him, more iconic clothing for him. So let's jump in and take a look at the clothing sets that I managed to get from. So as you can see here, I do have 2 copies of this particular figure because I am a big fan of the Big Lebowski. It was a product of my time, let's just say. And I did go all out on finding alternate clothing sets for him, because after I received the figure, I wasn't totally impressed with the clothing set that he was wearing. I was a bit dissatisfied, so I went shopping around for alternate clothing for him, and I couldn't decide which ones I wanted, whether it be the bowling pants, the bowling shoes, and the purple t-shirt, or the house coat or bathrobe with the green check shorts and the sandals. So I went for both, and I obviously got a second figure to display him with both outfits. And as you can see there, also I did manage to get a 1/6 scale, or a close to 1/6 scale copy of the rug that is featured in the movie, which in my opinion, it's an iconic piece, and I think it's a necessity for anybody who has the figure and is a fan of the movie. I think Sideshow should have added that rug themselves, to be honest. The colour tones in that rug are a little bit paler than they should be, but it's iconic. It does the job. But just starting with the bathrobe, you can see he has his glasses on him there, and it looks iconic enough, to be honest. And the White Russian in his hand, and the bathrobe fits quite well. Now, this is the outfit he's wearing in the opening scene where he walks into the convenience store and pays for a carton of milk by check, 69 cents. It's not without its issues. It does expose his knee joints a little bit, you know, with the shorts on, and the feet that I got for wearing the sandals are a completely different tone. So I am at some point going to do a body swap, maybe for a Fison or something, just to take away all of those joints and blend those feet in, and just to clean it up a little bit and make it look a bit more realistic. The bathrobe is absolutely on point, to be honest with you. It has all the features that it needs. It's got that corduroy kind of effect to it. It's got the belt. It's got functioning pocket, stitched all well, and it's just baggy enough. It's as baggy as it should be for how it looked in the movie. So yeah, it looks great. And the green shorts, the green checkered shorts, obviously are on point for how they looked in the movie as well. So all in all, I'm quite pleased with how he looks now. You know, I think it really elevates the figure to make him look more iconic. Like I said, he does have his issues. Those pegs and those feet don't quite go in, so there's a bit of a balancing act to get him to stand up. But there you have it for the bathrobe opening sequence kind of clothing set. I think it makes it look far better, and I think Sideshow should have chose one of these outfits for this figure, to be honest. I think it just would have added to the impact of the figure. And just having a look at the bowling outfit, again, the same issue with the shoes I got. They don't exactly peg in, they're a little bit loose. So again, a bit of a balancing act. The trousers are absolutely movie accurate, functioning pocket, stitched really well. They fit really, really nicely. They're just as baggy as they should be. The print is absolutely on point for how they wore in the movie, and they go better, in my opinion, with the cardigan. It's just more iconic looking than the outfit that Sideshow selling with. And then we have the purple t-shirt as well, which probably could do with a bit of staining down the front of it, but it's not the end of the world. So yeah, I think these 2 outfits just kind of elevate the figure, you know, and give him that more iconic look. And the addition of the rug just elevates the display far more, and I don't understand why Sideshow didn't just give you that rug, to be honest. So like I said, anybody who has the figure should definitely consider trying to get their hands on one of those outfits, just to make it look more iconic for the dude and how he looked in more scenes in the movie, or the iconic scenes anyway. So there you have it, guys. There is the Sideshow Collectibles 1/6 scale The Dude from the 1998 classic movie The Big Lebowski. I'm gonna stick this guy in my Sideshow Collectibles playlist, so if you want to see more reviews on Sideshow Collectibles figures, don't hesitate to hit that card that I've just put up in the corner, or go over to my channel and have a look at that playlist. And please do hit that like and subscribe button, guys, if you do like this kind of content and you did like the video. I'm going to leave you with some pictures as you can see them rolling up on the screen there. And thanks for watching the video and take care. See you in the next one.